Hello guys and welcome back to our daily Marvel Future Fight series. I am Dr. Mischief and in today's episode we will be doing a character review on Iron Man. Just like the first two characters we reviewed, namely Black Widow and Captain America, Iron Man is also one of those characters that players can easily access early on. And alongside that, not only is he easy to farm, but I also believe he has a lot of flexibility in terms of his build. So just like last time, I'll be tackling 5 things in this episode to teach you how to invest or develop in your Iron Man, which is uniforms, skills, gear and Uru, ISO 8, and character team-ups. But do take note that before we begin, that for this character, we will be viewing two types of builds, a leader build and a purely offensive build, which I'll explain later. So without further ado, let's get started on your Iron Man. So, I think you guys already noticed how trashy my Iron Man is. He's not even at 6 star, he's just 4 star and doesn't have any mastery at all. His gear is just at 5 and yeah, it's really sad. I've never taken into account how he's actually pretty good until I discovered like his skill sets and skill rotation and some uniforms. So before we get started, let's go and check his skills. So basically if you scroll down here, there's nothing interesting to see in terms of like skill, all energy damage, additional damage. And for his passive, it's just an additional 5% energy attack, which is not that bad. And missile barrage, another physical damage and additional damage. Wait, this one is physical instead of energy. So do take note of that. Wait, it actually says physical damage, 18% of energy attack. I got confused there. Anyway, so I guess it just comes off as physical damage, but it still uses your energy attack. Anyway, so this is also energy damage. And let's check his leadership, which is the main thing of Iron Man, which is his skill cooldown by 4%, which will gradually increase up to 6 stars. Now, when he's tier 2, his passive will be skill damage increase, so that's 42%, which is incredible, and bonus damage by 30%. So basically, you can already see here that he's basically the type of guy who would spam his skills, which is why skill cooldown as his leadership would make complete sense. Now let's check his profile for a while. Although it doesn't really show the full stats, you can already see that Iron Man isn't that good with his energy attack. Like, I guess it'll be kinda okay in tier 2, but he won't be doing a lot of basic damage. Instead, his big bang will rely on his skills. So let's actually check his uniforms. He only has 3 available uniforms. So which is Age of Ultron, 2099, and Civil War. So I know this is once again debatable on which one, but this is a really bigger one. It's a 3-way tie. But I believe that overall, no matter what build you make, I think Civil War would be the better one. So let's actually check his uniform. So the first one, which is Age of Ultron, which you can buy for 500k easy. Basically it's 25% when hit, you do basically damage, so that's not really fun. And also his other 2 uniforms do more ammo on missile barrage, so basically he doesn't get that much good abilities. But for 2099 he gets a repulsor blast change, and for Civil War he gets 2 changes, crash landing and repulsor blast, which is really fun. So now let's check his skill rotation and his skills in general. So basically, thank God we have the AI off right now. Okay, let's check his first skill. So his first, let's actually do his basic. Why I don't suggest you do basic, because it's really bad. It's just that it's not that bad. Okay, so let's go to his first skill, which is sort of close up, then boom. I think there's an iframe over there. I think it was an iframe. Yeah, he was white for a while, so that was iframe. So second one, jumps, crash, good for maneuvering. If you're in a tight position, you want to get out of there, boom. Alright. Then for third skill, it's a unibim, I think. Yes. Alright, so I'm not sure if that's an iframe or not. It seems like an iframe. Let's actually see that again. Yep, it's an iframe. Alright, for the fourth skill, it's this. Send out a bunch of missiles. Alright, then for fifth skill, boom. Amazing. I think that's a clear iframe over there with this skill. Yep, they all turn light. Alright. So basically, there are 2 ways to go about this. One is if you're encountering a lot of opponents, which is usually an alliance battle or regular game modes. But if you're going for like world boss or timeline battle, you will want to follow a different skill rotation. But you only change one thing. Now, for multiple enemies, you want to do the second skill, your fourth skill, and then your fifth skill, which goes like this. It's actually turned on AI right now. So second skill, fourth skill, fifth skill. Boom. Basically what you want to do with second skill, you get into the center of everything, then you take like a massive hit onto one of them, and then you just spin out of control while they're all around. So let's actually see that again. Second skill, fourth skill, fifth skill. There. Actually, second skill, fifth skill is good enough. But I feel like you do extra damage with the fourth skill, but it's up to you. So that's for multiple enemies, but for single enemies, I suggest a different skill rotation. So you do second skill, fourth skill, and instead of fifth skill, you do third skill. There, so you just hit one or like two if you're all in the line, then you're really lucky. Boom. Right, so once again, for single targets, you want to do 2, 4, and instead of 5, you do 3. Now, what do you use the first skill for? First skill is basically if you want to push back an enemy. I'm not sure if this works on multiple enemies. So yeah, it works on multiple enemies. If you want to push them back just to get your cooldown, you know, like if you want to wait for your other skills, you can use one for each time. Yeah. Pretty easy, pretty basic, simple to understand, and he's actually got an amazing maneuver technique. So like basically you want to just spin around until your skills come back. Now let's actually head on to Iron Man's gear. So like what I mentioned earlier, there are actually 2 ways where you can gear him, even including your fifth gear slot. So basically, for your first gear, you want to run all energy attack. For your second gear, you want to run all defense. Now for your third gear, this is when it gets a bit tricky, I guess. If you want him to be a leader, then you want to like slot his first 3 slots for this gear with HP, and then the rest are dodge. Then for your fourth gear, you want to slot the first 3 with critical rate and the last for skill cooldown. And then for your fifth gear, this one, which I have not unlocked it, you want to run dodge. Basically what this does is it focuses on closing on that skill cooldown, which is amazing, and uses gear slots to help you with that. And once his skills are done, you want to hit that critical rate and do some extra damage. So for this setup, your ISO 8 set would be either start backing or binary power. So what start backing does, let's actually check it here. Alright, and all set bonuses. So what start backing does is basically all defense, max HP, critical damage, dodge, and movement speed. So you get that double dodge benefit from your gear and your ISO 8. And then you get critical rate from your ISO 8, which will help your critical damage in your... critical rate from your gear, which will help your critical damage from your ISO 8. Now, what start backing also does is when you get hit, you recover 32% of your max HP, which is kind of like I Am Also Groot, but I guess here it's geared somehow offensively and defensively at the same time. Now, for binary power, as you can see on the screen, you kind of get the same thing. You get max HP, all defense, but instead of movement speed, you get attack speed, you get critical rate as well instead of critical damage, and you get recovery rate. So basically, another difference is instead of recovering your max HP, you create a shield that is 32% of your max HP. So instead of getting hit and recovering and then getting hit again, you basically just create a shield and you're kind of immune for a while unless someone has like defense penetration or something like that. So basically that's for your leader class build. Now, for your somehow purely offensive build, what you want to do, especially if he's not a leader, you want to go with first gear, all attack all the way, second gear, all defense all the way. For your third gear, it's kind of iffy here, but instead of HP and then dodge, you want to go all dodge. And then for the fourth, instead of critical damage, instead of critical rate rather, and then skill cooldown, you want to go with critical damage, critical rate. And then for your ISO 8 set, I suggest you go with Hawk's Eye. I think Hawk's Eye would be better. Yes. So let's actually see what Hawk's Eye does. So Hawk's Eye is all attack, critical rate, critical damage, dodge, cooldown, duration. So basically it employs everything we just discussed in your leader build, but better. So you get more dodge, you get more critical damage and critical rate, and you also get a bit of cooldown duration right there. So basically his additional like ability would be when you're attacking, you increase 40% of all attacks, which is amazing. So with given that cooldown duration, you can hit those skills immediately with your 40% increase to all attacks. So what's the difference? Basically, if you're a leader, you're going to focus on your cooldown duration, which is noted by your leadership. Now, if you're not a leader, you want to get paired up with someone who will buff up your energy attack or all attack, or maybe skill cooldown as well, so that you can target your offensive sections. Basically, Iron Man's one or the other. It's you want to be either the leadership, who is a mix of defense and offense, or you want to go full offense and basically rely on others' leaderships. Now that we've tackled that, Uru should be really basic energy attack, skill cooldown Urus, skill cooldown Urus if they exist. Hopefully they do, and maybe some dodge Urus if they exist as well. But you want to focus on energy attack regardless. Alright, maybe some critical rate Urus as well. Now for team bonuses, this one gets a bit fun because Iron Man has quite a lot of team bonuses, and it can also go either way. So for the defensive ones and offensive ones, I'll just be naming which ones are defensive and which ones are offensive for the ones I suggest. So the first one I suggest is Rocky Friendship. It's more of a defensive type of thing, where Iron Man would be leader, definitely. Get that critical damage increase, all defense, and max HP. Another one would be, not really 1872, but rather Armor Wars, which is another defensive sort of thing. You want Iron Man to definitely be leader for this one. So you have all defense increase, max HP increase, and critical rate increase, which is amazing. Party Like 2099 is sort of a split. It's defensive and offensive at the same time, but I feel this is geared towards the leadership of Iron Man. So it's a defensive thing. You increase all defense, increase in critical rate, and cooldown duration, which will stack to your cooldown duration leadership if you pick Iron Man as your leader. Now, Attack on Ultron is interesting, but it's hard to develop Thor if you're a new player. But this is more of the offensive side, especially Vision. All attack, critical rate, ignore defense. Pretty self-explanatory. Science Gone Wrong is something interesting, but it's really hard to farm for Hulk. You can only get him from like selectors or something, so I don't really suggest that for new players. But for experienced players, I guess it's also interesting because you get all attack, defense, and max HP increase, which is a split way tie. But here you pretty much want Iron Man as your leader. Now, one notorious combination would be Iron Mania. So it's all attack, all defense, critical rate. What you want is Iron Man for this leadership. So not only do you have skill cooldown, but you have an additional bank your buff for with critical rate, and you get buffed up for all attack and all defense. Memories of Civil War is another interesting combination. We see all attack, all defense, and max HP once again. But once again, if you don't have Spider-Man early on, it's pretty difficult. Captain America's really easy. Go check his review that we did. But basically, this again geared towards the defensive side because you have that all defense, max HP, along with your all attack. Now, some of the weird combinations would be like Founding Fathers, which is helpful as well because you get cooldown duration, all defense, and max HP, which is geared towards your leadership. But Thor is really hard to farm at early levels, and you only get 2 of his other levels past chapter 10, which is not that helpful for new players. Mechanical Mayhem, another interesting thing, but it's just really hard to get Doc Ock out there. So yeah, I think we've tackled everything. So yeah, that's basically it for your combinations. It's up to you to pick which one you want for like additional bonuses, but most of them are geared towards the leader one. If you want the offensive one, I'll be showing it right now. So for the offensive one, basically, since you're not the leader, you want a leader that can buff up your stats or something. I'm not sure what this guy's is. So yeah, you might want to go with someone like Lash, who has increase of energy attack, or someone like Star-Lord. Where is Star-Lord? Star-Lord, who also increases energy attack, but Star-Lord's the best in this category, so I guess yeah, you might want to go with Star-Lord, who's also a blast character. If you want cooldown duration, I guess there's always Rocket Raccoon, who also has cooldown. So if you want to be offensive, and at the same time you want that cooldown, you can just make Rocket Raccoon your leader, and then you still get skill cooldown, and you can still have your offensive set. Aside from that, I don't think there's any other combinations you want to go with Iron Man. So yeah, I guess that's it. So given all that, Iron Man's a pretty straightforward character in terms of flexibility. So it's up to you what you want to run. You want to run a defensive set, you want to run an offensive set, anything goes. It's just a matter of finding what you need on your team. So he's really farmable because you get like 4 stages every day. So that's 40 bios every day. That should be really easy to 6-star. I'm not sure why I don't have him at 6-star right now, but I guess I should work on him. So in a future video, maybe I'll show the previous 3 characters I've discussed. Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow. And maybe we can take on the world boss. So basically, just to conclude, given his flexibility, he can either run not really world boss, but like alliance battle. And if you heavily like develop him, like maybe like tier 2, you can pair him up with some energy increasing characters for world boss. Timeline battle, he doesn't do that bad. As long as you know the skill rotation, you should be fine. As long as you gear yourself up properly, you should be fine. And as well as team ups, he has a lot of team ups, so just pick whatever applies to you. So hopefully I was able to give more insights and a more in-depth discussion for Iron Man. He's an amazing character, very underrated, but as long as you manage to get him to what you want to do, either as a leader or as an offensive type, you should be good to go. So I want to hear what you think about Iron Man. Feel free to comment down below on what you feel. If you think he's irrelevant at the current meta, feel free to comment down below. If you have better builds, or if you think I said something incorrectly, please feel free to suggest down below and correct me down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I'm Dr. Mischief, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks guys, peace!